You're welcome. So my name is Chika and I'll be your host for today. So I would actually advise you hold your pen, hold your notepad because it's about to be an impactful section. It's about to be an impactful section, right? So tonight, just relax, bring your notepad, bring your biro, bring a pen, and sit down and listen to from a seasoned professional. Tonight is promised to be very impactful. It's promised to be very insightful. So sit down and relax. So for those of us, a lot of us here are familiar with AMDA Analytics. So for those who are joining us for the first time, I will quickly introduce who AMDA Analytics is and what we do at AMDA Analytics. So for those who are just joining for the first time, AMDA Analytics is an edtech company who is specialized in giving professional trainings, edtech trainings like project management, HR analytics, cybersecurity, and every other in-demand tech skills you need to be progressive today. So for today, our facilitator for today is going to be no other person than Zaiden, right? So Zaiden will be introduced very soon. So just sit down and relax while I get Zaiden on board. It's not the talk for that day.
Hello.
Hello.
So good evening, everyone. Chika, are you done?
Yes. So I'll briefly introduce Zaiden, right? I'll briefly introduce Zaiden. So first of all, I would like to introduce our facilitator. Who is our facilitator for today? Our facilitator is no other person than Zaiden. I am pleased to introduce our facilitator for today's section, Jaguna Zaiden. He is an experienced project manager with strong expertise in Agile project management and real-world project execution. He's ready, he has been ready for us, and he's ready to bring in practical insights that will bridge theory and industry application. So just sit back, relax, hold your notepad, hold your biro. It's promised to be an insightful season. So Zaiden, let's have you, please.
Chika, can you please mute your mic?
Please. So hello, everyone. My name is.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jaguno Zaidan. I'm a project manager with extensive experience managing projects from IT infrastructure, software development, and construction. Presently, we're going to be talking about Agile project management. I'm trying to load in my slides right now. I'm trying to share my slides, and let's just give it a minute for it to load. I really don't know what's going on. Let's see. Can you see anything now? Please, can you see my screen?
Not yet. We can't see it
No,
yet.
sir. We can't see the screen.
Change back on. Come in. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with the network, why it's not showing. Since it's not doing.
Hi, Zaiden. Can you please go off and join back? Probably
Okay,
the
let me
network.
try that. Okay, let me try that.
All right, thank you. While we're waiting for our facilitator to come, so I'll briefly introduce AMDA Analytics once again for those who are just joining. So if you're just joining us, welcome. You're welcome to our free project management bootcamp. In this section, you're going to learn how to get started in project management, how to make use of Agile project management. So Amdo Analytics is an edtech company dedicated to empowering professionals and aspiring talents through hands-on training practical. We specialize in some of today's most in-demand skills, such as project management, HR analytics, AI engineering, business analytics, cybersecurity, project management, data engineering, and data science. So if you're really interested in learning any of these tech skills, if you're interested in learning any of these tech skills, just sit down. Like I said earlier, hold your notepad, hold your diary pen. It's promised to be an insightful section. Hello, Jaden. Can you hear me?
Chika, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
My video is on. I guess it's the network.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Hi, Zedan. Are you back?
He's not
Okay,
back
so
yet.
all right. So while we are still waiting for Jaden, I want to specially welcome and thank everyone who has joined despite the busy schedule. Most of you just came back from work. Most of you are just, trying to get started. But you, okay, Jaden is. All right, thank you. Sit down, relax, and enjoy what we have for you today.
Yeah, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Jaden, we can see your screen. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about Agile project management. So, before we go into that, firstly, in project management, we popularly have just two methodologies, which are the Agile project management, that's the Agile methodology, and the waterfall. But along the line, we're going to explain. We'll be just talking about Agile project management, which has to do with fast-paced environments or software development majorly. So what is Agile project management? The Agile project management emphasizes iterative development, enhancing flexibility and collaboration among project teams. So what does that mean? So for Agile project management, it encourages flexibility. And when we go there, we mean that compared to the waterfall project management, waterfall means, let me just say something of straight line pattern. That means in waterfall project management, you use it for IT infrastructure majorly. You can't skip the steps. You have to finish a particular task before you move to the next task. But for Agile project management, you can have 3 tasks at once. You can be working on 3 different software projects at once. You can be working on 3 projects at once, and you find yourself really busy. So this presentation delves into the various methodologies that fall under the Agile project umbrella or the Agile umbrella, outlining their key features, practical applications in the realm of project management. So in Agile, we have one of the Agile principles emphasizes on customer satisfaction through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Like I said earlier, Agile project management is used for majorly software. If you go to, in fact, 100% of software or IT software companies in Nigeria all over the world use what we call the Agile project management. Iterative development. This divides the project into smaller iterations for incremental delivery and improved feedback. What does this mean? So compared to the waterfall, in waterfall you have what we call large planning and less time working. But in Agile project management, you spend time less planning and more time working or delivery of the project. So, and you divide the project into smaller iterations. Now, what's an iteration? Iteration is a 1 month, 4 weeks, let me use 4 weeks, 4 weeks timeline in which a particular feature or task must be closed out. For example, if you want to start a feature or like any task in a software, you are given 4 weeks, a maximum of 4 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. Anything above 4 weeks, that task must be moved to the next iteration. So the third one, we'll talk about collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication fosters close relationship amongst teams, stakeholders, and customers for better alignment. In Agile project management, there must be constant communication and collaboration of teams, because in most Agile teams, you spend time working with at least 12 people upward, depending on how big your team happens to be. Now we have the Scrum methodology overview. So now what's Scrum? Scrum is under the Agile methodology. In Scrum, this is major. This is now where this is a particular, let me just say, Agile perspective that deals with iteration majorly. For example, in Scrum modes, we have the product owner, Scrum master, and the development team. These are developers. In some Scrum teams, you end up having the IT project managers, you have the Scrum master, and you have your developers. You even have the product owner. Now, who is the product owner? The product owner is the owner of the product. It can be the MD, it can be the founder. Anyone can be the product, not anyone. Let me just say the owner of the product is the product owner. Now you have if you go to some IT, like banks, some banks, you have the IT project manager, you have the Scrum master. The Scrum master is the one who manages the team. Let me put it that way. He's like a project manager, but this time around, the Scrum master is the one that manages the team on the daily stand-up. He's the one that reaches out to every developer. Okay, what have you done today? What do you plan? What have you done yesterday? What do we have to do that particular day? What is the problem? So the Scrum master plays a role of making sure that everyone in the team is working. So we're going to move to what we call the sprint, or why, like I said earlier, iteration. It's a time-boxed iteration lasting 2 to 4 weeks to complete a work. Now, in Scrum, we have what we call a sprint or iteration, where a feature is given. Okay, let me give you an example. You you want to develop a software now, and obviously you're going to have the login page, you're going to have the sign in and login page. Let's say you choose to work on the login and sign in page within 2 to 4 weeks. If at the end of these 4 weeks you're unable to complete this login and sign in page, you are not allowed to extend a sprint. You move whatsoever tax, if it is the tax bar, if it is the tax bar on the software, if it is maybe one of your developers haven't done the back end or something, you have to make sure that you move it to the next sprint. So we have what we call the daily stand-up. Like I explained earlier, this is a meeting for communication of progress and challenges in which the Scrum Master manages the whole team. So, but a lot of people always tend to ask, how do you have an IT project manager and at times you have a Scrum Master? So this is how it is. In some organizations, you have what you call the head of PMO that manages a lot of projects. Now, at the head of PMO, they can have an IT project manager who just manages or makes sure that every project coming from the IT or from the tech team is being monitored by him. He's going to make sure, okay, you know what, is the Scrum Master doing their work? Are they keeping up with the projects and all, every other thing? So we're going to move to the next. We have Kanban. So Kanban is like a workflow. Let me just say a visual workflow of management. Kanban utilizes visual boards to track work with tasks represented as cards and columns, indicating different stages of progress, promoting transparency. If this was our normal standard class, I would have explained this Kanban bit by giving you an example of what a Kanban is. But if you've used, let me say, Jira, if you've used Jira before, you would have what you call a Kanban board. Now, what does this do? It is a board like whereby the Scrum Master or Project Manager has this board in where it keeps every task leading to the other tasks. It's like a workflow. Let me put it that way. So we have the continuous delivery. Unlike Scrum, fixed iteration, Kanban allows for continuous delivery of tasks, enabling teams to adjust priorities and respond to changes without delay. Now, what does this mean? Unlike Scrum, that has a fixed iteration of 2 weeks to 4 weeks, Kanban allows for continuous delivery of tasks, which means if you're unable to complete the task within a certain time given, you can continue with as much as there's time for it. So it enables the team to adjust priorities and respond to changes without delay, which means that, okay, for example, if you're working in the software and along the line, the product owner comes to the meeting and says, okay, there'll be a change, there'll be these changes, you are allowed in the Kanban to be able to make these changes. Then we have what we call work in progress limits. So this prevents team overload by restricting the number of tasks being worked on simultaneously and enhancing focus and efficiency. So this actually is part of the agile system because you don't want to overwork your team members. So what do? While creating the tasks on this Kanban chart or this Kanban board, you are going to make sure that the task given to each team member is within their capacity. Now, as a project manager, one of the skills you must have is the ability to identify everyone's skill gap. For example, I remembered one time I was working on a project and we had an intern and someone with over 10 years experience working on it. So, and most times I was always calling the intern daily, trying to like get him that, okay, what have you done? Have you been able to complete this? Have you gone to meet the customer? You know, and trying to make sure that, okay, he was delivering his tasks daily. But for the person of 10 years, I didn't need to call him almost, I didn't need to micromanage him. All I needed to do was keep him updated that, okay, you need to be here today and finish up today. And at night, I reach out to him if he has done what he had done, and that was all. But for the internet, and the reason for that is because unlike the man with or the developer with 10 years experience, the intern will make a lot of mistakes. Firstly, there'll be a lot of slacking, and you might not even have the skills required to finish the job. So what I expected for the senior developer to do then was to put him through and make sure that, okay, I was giving him less tasks compared to him because I understood the skills. So as a project manager, you must have the ability to understand everyone. You must keep up with everyone in your team. You must be able to, okay, this is this person, this is what this person is, this is not beyond this person's ability. This is what this person can do, this is what this person can do. You must have a visual knowledge of everyone in your team as a project manager. That is why they tell you that if you have a bad project manager, your project has failed. So as a project manager, you must be into the project, you must understand the project, you must know everyone's tasks. You don't just give people tasks or share tasks based off, oh, okay, you know what, let me just give this person his task. It doesn't work that way. You have to keep everyone in touch. So before I go to the next one, which we're going to be talking about lean methodology, I think I would like anyone that has any questions regarding the Kanban methodology or the Scrum methodology. Then from after that, we can move into the next ones. Does anyone have any question? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So now we have what we call the lean methodology, which is under the Agile. This focus on creating value by eliminating waste in process. So in lean means the shortest way. Let me put it that way. It's like trying to create value by eliminating waste in processes. So when we look at lean compared to other methodology under Agile, unlike Scrum and Co, lean just focuses on value. Okay, what do we really need? Is this the most important feature? Is this what we really need right now? For example, if a client comes to meet you and tells you, oh, they want a banking application that can run transfers, and they want it to also do international transfers and all. In lean methodology, the first thing that comes to your mind is, okay, what can we achieve within this short period of time right now? And that work now, the first thing that you have to look at, okay, what's the first thing we can do right now? Okay, let's start with the local transfer first. Then you start with the local transfer, and along the way, you continue to improve the application. That's why in lean methodology, if you see, I'm talking about continuous improvements, applying Kaizen principle to enhance process regularly. Now, what's Kaizen? Kaizen means continuous improvement. So under the lean methodology, it is believed that you continue to improve the application constantly. It can be maybe once in 6 months or probably twice a year, depending on what you tend to achieve as a product owner or as a project team itself. Lastly, we have the empowering teams, encouraging teams, initiative, and responsibility in project outcomes. So in Lean, you don't tend to like micromanage people compared to others. For example, everyone in the team has the ability to make certain decisions. They have free will to make certain decisions regarding a project. So in sprint and all, everything has to do whatever you've agreed at the beginning of the meeting, in the beginning of the meeting of a scrum meeting, that is what must be done. But in Lean methodology, along the line, a developer might say, okay, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, this is what we're going to do. And he can decide to take his own initiative, and as long as it doesn't go beyond the project scope. Next, we're going to talk about, okay, extreme programming. Now, what's extreme programming? That's what we call XP. It's probably really new. A lot of people don't know this, and a lot of companies don't use extreme programming compared to Scrum and Co. Now, extreme programming is an agile software development methodology aimed at improving software quality and responsiveness to changing customer requirements. It emphasizes technical excellence, customer involvement, and simplicity in design. So in extreme programming, let me just give you what extreme programming is, or the difference between extreme programming compared to others. In extreme programming, you have less teams compared to every other one. You have less members. In extreme programming, you only expect to have like probably 4 developers. Now, in fact, 2 developers majorly. The first developer is the one developing the application, because you must have a back end. That's like a back end and front end developer. That means now anyone that is working in an using extreme programming, if you are going to work in a type of environment, you must be a full stack developer, which means you must be able to handle the front end and back end. Then you have another developer who is going to be like a quality control, looking for the errors on your codes and all. So immediately the developer is coding and trying to work on the application, another developer is looking for mistakes and trying to reduce the mistakes. Now, one of the best, or the thing I love about extreme programming, is the fact that everyone must be technical excellence. Like everyone must be good. There must be a certain level of expertise firstly, and there's also reduction in mistakes. If you look at this now, it says XP promotes high quality software through practice such as peer programming, test-driven development, and continuous integration, ensuring robust code and rapid release. So unlike the others, especially Scrum, whereby everyone is taking time to do this, after you're done with this, after you're done with coding, you take it to the other designers, product designers will do theirs, it takes time. But for extreme programming, you might just even have probably like just 5 team members: the project manager, the product designer, the QA, and just the full stack developer. That's like 4 people in a team, and that's all. Then maybe there's going to be a little bit of maybe someone that will be getting review from customers, maybe the customer involvement. So it is much easier and simply to manage that kind of project. So we have what we call customer involvement. That's the frequent feedback from customers. It's a key component with ongoing communication to capture changing requirements and ensure product relevance. So in extreme programming, the customer must be involved from the beginning to the end. And why? So if there's going to be any mistake in the project, okay, let me say the customer will be the one to review what you've done, the software that is out. Okay, maybe the customer tells you, oh, he doesn't like this, or it's not, this is not what he wants, this requirement is too much, a lot of things like that. It gives you the ability as a project manager to get the review and make corrections immediately. Then we have what we call emphasis on simplicity. Like I said earlier, extreme programming encourages simple designs that work, reducing complexity and allowing for easier modifications and enhancements as users' needs evolve. Now, what does this mean? So extreme programming is just simple. It's a simple designs. There's no complexity. No one is expecting you to build your application immediately. If at the beginning of the project it is agreed that okay, we want to do so and so, this is what we do at the beginning of the project, and we move on. For example, let me give an example of a project I once managed. I can remember it was for a South African client. It was a very small, it was a project management application that was really, really large. And when I got into the project, I found out that they were using extreme programming on the project. And I was like, why are we doing that? And they were like, oh, they're trying to make sure the project is completed between 6 months. And I looked at it and I told the product owner to give me the old documents of the projects from the previous project manager. And after looking at it, I realized the project extreme programming couldn't work for this type of project. Now, how do you know where extreme programming works or what type of methodology to use? Now, it depends on type of project. So what I did then was when I looked at the timeline, I looked at the parts, I looked at the features. Now you're talking of a project management application, which would have a lot of features. If you've used Jira, if you've used ClickUp, you see how big the application is. So when I had to tell them that, okay, you know what, there's been a mistake. We're going to need this product designers to work on this product at first. So what do we do? They did the first 6 months, I could remember, of 2024. Yeah. So from 2024 July down to December to work on all the designs from the design frame and everything. And I, as a project manager, make sure that the keyword was testing and everything was in correct places. Then later on, I reached out to the programmers, that was the developers and all that. Okay, we're done with the product designs now. We can now move in and start using Scrum again from the beginning to manage this project. So extreme programming, one of the ways to know or to pick up on things for much easier this thing is if you have a very small software, maybe that doesn't involve more than 10 pages or 10 slides. Let me use pages, depending on the product designs going to be needed. When you look at it, this is 10 pages. You can use extreme programming for it. You can use lean methodology for something smaller also. And for Kanban also. So for Kanban, unlike others, Kanban you can also do that. But now this is where it gets true. For Kanban, you also have to understand that it's workflow. But for me, I do tell people I don't use Kanban for software development. I use it for maybe workflow. Maybe I want to, maybe there's a project regarding reach out to people, or maybe there's a project for all this Lagos Access Bank marathon run, a type of project like that. This is where ideally you can use Kanban methodology. But unlike Scrum, which is the number one used agile methodology in the world right now, is because when you have big applications. For example, something like Facebook right now, you can't use extreme programming for Facebook. Definitely, you cannot use that. You use Scrum. You have the product owner, the Scrum master, your development team, and you give your time and release dates little by little. So let's go. So now we have what we call feature-driven development, that is FDD. So FDD, or feature-driven development, focuses on delivering tangible working features in a timely manner. So what does that mean? It focuses more on features and what can work at a minute. Like I said earlier, in Scrum, you can focus on one feature and not release it. But FDD, it is something that must be releasable to the public. So, for example, now you can look at the software project and say, okay, we have these 3 features, and these 3 features we can release. These are the 3 most important features, or 2 important features that we can release at once. So you focus on that within a short period of time and release the product. Then we have modeling and planning. FDD begins with an overall model of the system to ensure clear direction. Now, what does this mean? It means at the beginning of the project, there's more planning in FDD compared to others. And when I say planning, in the sense that you have a team meeting where everyone sits down with this product owner, the MD, everyone, you get to sit down and you have a conversation. Okay, this is what we can release between 1 month. Okay, the next 2 months we focus on these features. This is what can be released in 2 months, and there's a timely manner and planning for everything. So now you can't, if you plan that, okay, you want to release a feature between now and February ending, and you release the feature. Now, the feature you plan to release for March, April, you can't pick June, July, and move it there. It doesn't work that way. Everything is already done in a timely manner already. The regular builds. Working software is released every couple of weeks, fostering product enhancements. Like I said, it must be something releasable. So the software released must be something that it is usable. Like let me give you an example now. You can't decide that, okay, want to release another feature. You can't pick up maybe, okay, let me use the sign in or login page right now at the beginning. You can't just do the sign in and login page and leave it that way and release it. Because after the sign in and login page, you have other features there. So you pick up other features that are releasable or can work at that minute in time. So the Agile methodology insights, that's choosing the right methodology. Selecting an Agile methodology depends on the project goals, team dynamic, and customer needs. Like I said earlier, you must focus, like when you look at the project itself, okay, what does it entails? What are we trying to achieve? Okay, how many team members do we have? Definitely, if you have a project that needs 12 to 15 members, you are not using extreme programming, you are not using FDD, you are not using Kanban, you'll be using Scrum. When you project with less than 12 members, you can use Scrum, you can use Kanban, you can use extreme programming, FDD, the likes of it. The benefits of Agile. Agile enhances responsiveness to change, improves collaboration, and boosts customer satisfaction. So one of the best things of why a lot of people use Agile is the responsiveness to change. Because one thing over the years, or in fact, if you've been managing projects, you realize that change is constant, especially in most software projects. You must expect change. Today, you might decide, okay, this is what we're trying to do for the first 2 months, and along the line, the customer decides to change the requirement or change, okay, you know what, I don't want this. This is what I want. I don't know. So you have, although there has to be a workflow in place to allow for that. It must have to be okay because you have to have the change request form and the lot of other things which I don't want to dwell into right now. The future of Agile. The Agile landscape would evolve with hybrid approaches to achieve project success. So before we move to our next topic, I would like to ask again if we also have any questions regarding Agile project management. So I'll take that everyone here understands that. So let's move to the next comment. So we're going to be talking of project charter. So a project charter is used is the first, let me just say, it serves as a foundation document that clearly defines the project objectives, scope, stakeholders, and resources. By including key elements, it ensures that everyone involved has a clear understanding of the project direction and promotes effective communication throughout the project lifecycle. Now, what's a project charter? To make it simple, a project charter just serves as a document that shows, okay, you are the project manager and you have started the project. A project cannot start without a project charter. Now, what are the things that we expect to be in a project charter? We have what we call the project vision. Now, what's the project vision? That's the future focus, clearly define what the project aims to achieve in the long term. In the project charter, you must have a vision. You must have a clear vision on it. That means, okay, what's the aim of the project? You can't start a project without no aim. You must have, okay, this is the aim, so we're trying to achieve. This is what the whole board of directors is trying to achieve. It must be in the project tracker. Then we have inspiration. The vision should be inspiring and motivates the project team and stakeholder. When people, a lot of, if you look at some companies today, their vision changes over time, and it should be inspiring to motivate your team in general. Let's even leave the project team or other stakeholders. Everyone, that's why I said, and other stakeholders must be inspired by the project vision. Everyone must be aligned. Everyone must be interested. Okay, this is what they're trying to follow. Alignment with goals. Ensure the project vision aligns with the organization's overall goals. Now, the project vision must always align with the company's goals. Okay, this is what the company wants to achieve. For example, now, maybe a particular company now, their goal is to be the biggest tech company in Africa. Now, the project vision must align with that. That means whatever project or whatever vision they have, it must align with that organization overall goal. Then what we call the project objectives. Now, objectives should be clear, specific, and measurable. That's what we call SMART. The objective must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be clear. Everyone in the team must understand what the objectives of the project are. It must be short-term. You have to be short-term and long-term goals. It must include both immediate outcomes and longer-range goals. You have stakeholder engagement. Involve stakeholders in defining the objectives. Your project charter must have the objective, and for you to have that, you must involve the stakeholders. That means you must understand what the stakeholder. Okay, this is the objective of the project. Okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. Okay, this is it's I would love to give an example of maybe after when we're done explaining, I'll show you a little bit of example of a project charter. Please, so we have what they call the project scope. Now, defining boundaries. Clearly outline what is included in a project and what is not. Now, in your project charter, you must have your project scope. You must have, okay, this is what you must clearly outline what should be in the project, what you want in the project. You must align everything bit by bit. Your deliverables, everything must be in the project. And now, along the line, in my experience in working with a lot of developers, as a project manager, you have to be very careful of not having what we call scope creep. That is a situation whereby the project is going beyond the scope of the project. That means you are going out of the scope. For example, I could remember last year, I was managing a particular project, and one of the design, and we're on the meeting with the product owner that particular day, and he took us to a website and said, oh, he wants exactly this color of this website. He loves what they did on this website. He wants something exactly like this. He sent some pictures that he wanted on the website and a lot of things like that. And when he explained everything, I met with my designers and said, okay, you know what? This is what this man wants to do it. And when my designer will come back, I could remember she did what was asked, but then again, she went ahead to include some other things that the customer did not ask for. So why she felt like, she was trying to show off that, okay, she was good and all. But that minute, she had gone above the scope. And I told her immediately, I said, what you are doing here is wrong. Give the customer exactly what said he wants. If the customer says he wants red, for example, now, the customer says, okay, he wants the background of the application to be red. You have no reason to bring in purple. You have no reason to say, okay, the red is not good enough. And that's why I try to use orange, because I feel orange fits there. No, you as the project manager, you must be able to define the boundaries. You must let your stakeholders, your team members, you must let them know this is what the project or the customer wants. Deliverables, specify the key deliverables of the project. Now, what does that mean? So deliverables are what the customers will look at in the project. What the customer will look and say, okay, these are what must be in the project. This is what defines, okay, this project is completed. For example, now if you want to write a project sign off, you have to write your key deliverables. So if you go, if you don't have any, if you have not completed everything on your deliverables, you've not completed the project. Assumptions and constraints. Document any assumption that impacts project scope and constraint that might affect deliverability. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you foresee a problem that might affect the project scope, any constraint, any, that might just negatively or positively, document it in the project charter. And why is this? It's so that because the project charter is being shared to everyone in the organization, including the higher stakeholder, that's the MD, to the last person, they must, they must see it and they must align with it, they must be satisfied with it. So now we go to stakeholder and resources. Now, what do we mean by stakeholder? Stakeholder is everyone in your project. The customer is a stakeholder. Your development team, your devs, they are stakeholder. You as a project manager, you're a stakeholder. Your CEO is a stakeholder, the product owner, MD, depending on the type of project organization you're working. Everyone involved, or anyone that will be affected by the project, either negatively or positively, is a stakeholder. Now you must identify your stakeholder. List all individuals and group affected or involved in the project, assessing their influence and interest to ensure proper engagement. Now, what does that mean? You must list everyone that is involved in this project. That means everyone that is involved, it can be an external stakeholder, probably, let me give an example. The customer should be there. Okay, this is the customer name should be there, the MD, your dev, everyone, and not that they are just there, with their roles there, you must also assess their influence and interest to ensure proper engagement. That means you must understand that, okay, this is the influence this person has on this project. That when you are at this stage, you must understand that not everyone on that project has the same influence. Not everyone on the project has the same interest. You as the project manager, you are interested because you are the project manager. Your team are interested, obviously, but how about the higher stakeholders? You find out in some projects, you must understand that you don't have to please everyone. Okay, let me give an example. You have the CTO, you have the chief operating officer, you have the HR manager, you have the financial manager, and a lot of people in your organization. You must assess their influence on the project. For example, now if the project involves, let me say, maybe we're trying to run a project for a financial company, a finance company now. Now it involves the finance manager, because we're going to involve the finance manager in such type of project. The finance manager would have more interest more than the HR manager. He would have more interest more than the chief operations manager. He would have more interest than most of your colleagues, and he will have more influence in it. Do you understand? So you must understand where and who to put on the project, because in some organizations, if you don't put the right stakeholder on board, you might end up losing the project. And what does that mean? You might end up losing the project from that project. So if the right people are not onboarded on the project, they can bring another project and they can tell you that this particular project, we're no longer interested in it. And that project dies down like that. Resource allocation. Evaluate necessary resources, including personnel, technology, and material to support successful project execution. What does that mean? You must at the beginning of the project, or when the project charter is being written, you must evaluate the necessary resources that would be needed. How many people would be needed on the project, which technology is needed, the materials, that are going to enable the completion of the project. In fact, you end up having to involve what they calling these people, the vendors at this stage. We are trying to make sure, okay, this is this person, okay, we're going to need this so person. For example, now, I work in a tech organization whereby we work with what we call the OEMs, that's original equipment makers, Dell, Cisco, and all. when we go to our customers, we tell them, okay, we have this technology that you are requesting for. This also people, Dell has it, this OEM has it, maybe you can say Dell, Cisco, they have it. Okay, they come to us and say, okay, they want HP. And we're like, oh, HP does not have this technology you're requesting for. These are the people that have this. So we have to, so when they agree with us, okay, this is the technology, this is the OEM, these are the vendors that have this technology, then we can now move forward with the project. Roles and responsibilities. Clearly define roles and responsibilities for each stakeholder and team member to ensure accountability and streamline decision making. What does that mean? Like I said earlier, you must, when you're identifying your stakeholders, their roles and responsibilities must be there on your project charter. So anyone that looks at your project charter must, when they look at it and they are looking for anyone, okay, well, they once they look at the project charter, they can tell, okay, this is the project manager, this is the MD, this is the front-end developer, everything involving the project must be on the project charter. Risk and mitigation plan. Risk and mitigation plan outlines the essential steps to identify, assess, and mitigate potential risks throughout the project's lifecycle by prioritizing management efforts to ensure that potential disruptions are addressed proactively. Now, if you remember when we're talking about stakeholder engagement, I was saying that your risk, uncertainties should be written down already. So then you must identify your risk, these potential risks that could impact project success. Now, when you identify your risk, you are not expected as a project manager to know it all or to be able to figure out every risk in the project. Now, it also depends on the type of project. For most waterfall projects, you end up finding out that you can spend time trying to find the risk because you spend major time in planning. But compared to the software project, which is prone to change, what you do in software project most times are just you sit down with your team for a team meeting or stand-up meeting, discuss, you have a conversation, okay, everyone brings down an idea of, okay, this is a risk we can foresee in this project. Okay, let's say, okay, for example, now if you've worked with a vendor before, and you can tell that this vendor can delay or used to delay for like a month or so, you put it down, okay, this vendor we're about to use, it will delay us for like a month or two. So you know that, okay, at the beginning of the project, you must reach out to the vendor immediately and say, okay, we want so and so devices. Just so that if at the end of the day, there's going to be delay, you've created a mitigation plan already. That means by reaching out to the vendor on time. It can also be maybe, okay, for example, there's a project a construction project now. Let me even make it for a time. I'm handling a project right now for someone, and few weeks back, I was telling him that, let us start with this particular place first. And he was like, no, let's not start there, let's move. And I was telling him that it's better we start here and finish this, because in the next few months we'll be having rain. And the person was, and the owner was like, no. Rain cannot fall till like June, July. And lo and behold, we're so lucky that he gave me the opportunity to take over and go ahead with that particular site construction at that moment. And immediately we finished it, I remember last week rain fell heavily for like 2-3 days, and I was pointing out to someone, I was saying to someone that if we had not done this few weeks back, we will be facing this issue now to have spotted this whole site now. The person was like, that is very smart. That you must, as a project manager, you must like think ahead of everyone. Impact assessment, assess the impact and likelihood of each risk. Like I said, you must assess, okay, what's the probability of this risk happening? Like example now, for me, I knew rain was going to most likely fall because I used to check weather reports firstly. Secondly is when you know about the climate change and everything, you understand that, okay, anything can happen at the moment. So I have to let the customer know that this is what is needed for this project. Mitigation strategy, you develop and document strategies and manage risk. So now in a product chapter, when you create your risk, you have your mitigation strategies next to it. You must develop it and it must be in a document so that time to time you come back to look at the risk. Okay, we're about to start this task. There was a risk we foresaw. for this particular task, okay, we have to input the mitigation strategy ahead of it. Now we have the project plan and timeline. Now, what's the project plan? Like I said earlier, project plan is, let me just say, it's a visual representation of what's happening in the project. After I'm done with this, I'll show you an example of a project plan. So you must have a project plan and a timeline. That means, okay, for example, in the project plan, you have, okay, this is it. The project starts today. This particular task starts today and ends today. You must have a visual representation of everything regarding the project. Your resource management, it must be in the project plan on the project charter. So you have what we call feedback loops, regular reviews, establish regular intervals for feedbacks and project review, facilitating continuous improvements and adaptive management. So in the project charter, you must have a way, you must have it in project charter, okay, this is how we plan on having feedbacks or review of a project. For example, now you have daily stand-ups with your team, that's with your development team, your dev team. You're not going to be having the same daily stand-up with your MD, with your CEO. No, this set of people, you have to have it in mind that, okay, these stakeholders are what we call the highest stakeholders. You send them mail probably once a month, once to 2 weeks, or you have a meeting with them once in 2 weeks, or bi-weekly, then maybe bi-weekly, and you send them a mail maybe once a month, something, just so they have an idea of what's going on in the project, but they are not going to be involved on your daily meetings. Stakeholder inputs. Encourage ongoing input from stakeholders to ensure their perspective and concerns are integrated into project development. Now, what does this mean? You must make sure that every stakeholder is involved. But like I said earlier, you must identify the stakeholders that are interested and have much influence. Now, so for like I was talking about the finance projects now. You would go and meet the finance manager and meet me, okay, I need your perspective on this, I need so on this. You must have conversation that will make this person put out his own input for the project. You can't go and meet the HR manager to talk about something regarding the finance because it's not the HR's business. Do you understand? So we have adjustment based on feedback. Create a mechanism to adjust plans and activities based on the feedback received, promoting responsive flexibility. Now you must have what we call, you must create a plan in such a way that, okay, with the help of these people's feedback, you can work on something. For example, now when you're dealing with when you're using Scrum methodology, we have what we call sprint review. Now in the sprint review, the whole team looks back and discuss about, okay, what was our mistakes in this sprint? What did we not do? What did we do? What did we do better? What can we do better? You must create, as a project manager, you must create this feedback in such a way to help everyone to make sure that, okay, in your next project, you're not making the same mistakes any longer. Communication plan. Communication channels, define the channels and tools for effective communication. Now, what does this mean? Now, you must create a communication plan. You must understand where each stakeholder stands, like I said initially. You have to, at the beginning of the project chapter, you have it in your project chapter, okay, this is communication plan. Okay, you have it in the project chapter, okay, every 2 weeks, I'm going to be sending mail to these people, to this particular stakeholder. Every day, I'm having meeting with these particular stakeholders. Everything must be you must create the communication channels or the communication plan in the project chapter. Frequency and formats. Specify regular update and meeting formats to ensure engagement. Like I said now, you must specify that, okay, you are meeting your devs every day for your daily stand-up. It must be in your communication plan, and your communication plan must be in the project charter. You have stakeholder engagement. Tailor strategies to meet diverse needs of stakeholders. Now, what does that mean? In a situation whereby you are working with multiple stakeholders, you must tailor your strategy or your communication plan in such a way that it meets the needs of everyone, every stakeholder involved in the project. For example, now, if you're working with a stakeholder that is probably in America or in the UK, and you are here in Nigeria as a project manager, You must be able to tailor your meeting with that particular stakeholder in such a way that to be both comfortable for you and the stakeholder. You can't have a meeting with that stakeholder, or let's say you have probably 3 developers in the UK now, and you have like 2 designers here in Nigeria. So you can't expect to have the meeting in the same time the developers the product owners are having the meeting with you. So you must be able to understand where they stand. You must create the strategy to meet their own needs. Budget planning and control. Firstly, what I'll first start with this here is every project has a budget. Cost estimation. Provide a detailed budget that outlines projected costs for resources, materials, and contingencies. So to explain this very well, you must have a detailed budget to outline your project cost. Okay, what is the cost for resources? Okay, are we going to need external resources like external people to work for us on this project? How much will they cost? How much are we going to pay them? The materials for this, okay, what are we going to need for this project? If it's an IT infrastructure company, okay, how many SFPs do we need? You know, a lot of things that you might, okay, even if it's a software project, you might want to buy a domain, okay, you might decide, okay, what else? Okay, we need so and so vendors, or we need, if it's a payment platform, you have to reach out to different payment platforms and ask them, okay, this is what we need. You know, you must have a budget for these things. Now, you know what we call the contingency plan. You know, it must be 10% of your initial budget for the project. But here's where it's I've learned from. Over time, I've learned to just put it at 50% on some projects. Sorry, someone isn't down. Okay. So you must learn to, oh, sorry. So it must be like, I keep it at 15% because a lot of things comes up in projects. Let me give you, for example. I remembered we had, okay, Martins. Martins, what's your question?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just applauding you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so contingency plans, I was saying, your materials and your contingency plan. So now, why I keep it, for example, I remember that I was handling a project. I was working my a tech company, health tech company back then, and we had this contract with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it was, I think, the agreement then was to test over 100 females for breast cancer. So along the line, we were running the testing, and we felt like, okay, we needed. I think we make the budget for 150 kits for the test, and along the line we were testing around Lagos. So when we got close to the deadline, remember back then, we were just able to test around just 60 to 70 people then. We just had 1 week extra. Now that 1 week extra, we knew that, okay, we spent the last few months testing this amount of people. Was 1 week going to be enough? We said no. So what did we do? We first went ahead to employ people out from outside the organization on a contract based. That, okay, this is just for a short-term contract. That was firstly. Secondly, we reached out to doctors, female doctors. They were willing, because we realized a lot of people were scared of the test. We reached out to female doctors. We spoke with them. We said, okay, you know what? We're going to give you item 7 if you are willing to do this test, which also increased our budget because we didn't plan for that at the beginning of the project. So, like I said, a lot of things, at the end of the day, we were able to, complete the 100 tests in a week. But, when you look at it, we didn't plan that, oh, we're going to face this problem, or we're not going to get, at times you look at the numbers and say, oh, 100, okay, it's very easy to find 100 people to do it. But then when you go outside there, you realize, oh, some people are even scared of taking this test. Monitoring and control. Establish process for budget monitoring and control to prevent overruns. Now, what does this mean? Although in some projects you find out that you have like an accounting team that will manage the budget for you, that tell you this is the allocated budget that you must give accounts to. Just as, but then again, in some projects, you also find out that you as a project manager, you're going to be the one giving accounts for the project. If at the beginning of the project the plan was $100 million, 100 million naira, you are giving that 100 million naira. So you know that okay, what there's not going to be any cost overrun. You're going to be very careful. Everyone must give accounts for everything done in the project. So that's where financial justification comes in. Justify expenditures by linking them to project objectives and outcomes. Now, what does that mean? Like I said earlier, you must justify the expenditure. You must make sure anyone taking anything from the project, it must be for a justified reason. You must give okay. For example, if you've worked in the corporate world before, you hear where they'll tell you, oh, they reimburse people for doing this, for doing that, And I've worked in an organization whereby some people won't work. Okay, for example, we're in 2023, we're trying to run a test on AI. We built one AI back then, and we're trying to run this test for the AI that we wanted people to use this AI very well and a lot of things like that. And we allocated specific people to like go to different locations and give people to test these things. And we realized some of them will tell you, oh, they went outside to test, and they were not testing, they weren't doing anything. They would receive money for transport and everything, they won't do anything. So what did we do back then was, okay, if you are going to be going anywhere, show the justification for the Uber fees first. Okay, you went there, and you must show the justification after you have paid. That's what we did back then, just so that we could limit the amount of money that was going out without any will of justification. Mhm. Now, success metrics. You can't create a project charter without having your success metrics. You must define your success for the project. Establish clear and measurable criteria for project success, making sure they align with the project objective and overall goals. You must define everything to the, like I said earlier, you must have in your project data, you must have it out. Okay, this is what defines the success of this project. You must track progress, develop mechanisms for tracking these success metrics throughout the project lifecycle to gauge performance effectively. So now it depends on the project, on how you track progress. It depends on the type of project. If there isn't waterfall, you might just need to have a project plan on your Excel sheet, or probably you can create it on your Google Sheets, just a normal project plan whereby you can see, okay, well, yeah, okay, this is people that have done this, people have done this subtasks, and you have everything that you've seen already. But when you are looking at software, you can just go to your what they calling it. For example, ClickUp. You go to ClickUp, you have your tax and subtax. You look at it, okay, this is what we have. Well, at the beginning, this is in progress, this particular tax is in progress. You must be able to measure everyone's performance. Okay, who is the person working on this tax? This tax was meant to be done a week before. A lot of things like that as a project manager, you must be able to effectively manage the whole thing. Then we have what we call the post-project evaluation. Plan for post-project evaluation against success metrics to derive lessons learned and improve future projects. Now, what does that mean? You must plan that, okay, if anyone is coming to evaluate this project, are they going to be happy with it? You must plan for it ahead, because such a way that you are able to derive lessons learned. Because in every project, you're going to learn different things. For example, I can remember a particular project that I managed for a particular bank back then. After the project, I told someone that one of the things I've learned was managing people and understanding where people stand, or how to manage people entirely based off age range. And someone was asking me how I did that. And now, for example, in that project, I remember I was having issue with one of the workers then, because he was older than I was. So I will call him and I will say, you've not done so and so and so. And this person will say, you don't need to tell me I'm an adult, so and so. At first, I was always getting triggered because it's the first time I was hearing someone bringing age in a project, which was very funny to me. But along the line, I learned something in that project. When you are dealing with people older than you or managing people with big egos, you must learn how to manage them. So one thing as a project manager is from every project, you must learn something. You must learn from every project. For example, now the present construction project I'm managing, I've learned more about sales from that project. Why? Because it involves me constantly speaking to vendors and letting them know, okay, this is what I want. This price is too much, Unlike where I was coming from in the tech team before, where the sales team did the majority of the negotiation. So that will be all for today's class or today's bootcamp. And if you all have any questions, we can ask and I would give answers to that. Yeah, Chika, I can talk.
All right. I have a question for you. I have a question. So, you said earlier that you mentioned that a project is not complete, right?
Yeah.
If everything in the deliverables was not completed.
Yes.
Right. So now I have a question about that because it's the question is actually what you said is actually true, but it's a bit tricky. Reasons
Okay.
being that my question is right now in real world where constraints like time, budget, vendors as well, vendors mismanaging time when those like just like what you said earlier that some vendors can delay, that okay, you want this thing to be completed on so day, but the vendor will not complete it on so on that particular day you actually want the vendor to do that. Okay, so in real world project where constraint like time, budget, or stakeholder project forces team to cut back, how do you define completion without compromising original deliverables? Considering the fact that you said if everything in your deliverables is not complete, it means that project is not complete.
Okay, so let me give, so now when we talk about deliverables, firstly, okay, you know what, let me share you something.
Okay.
So I was about to share a project plan. Um, Can you see my screen right now? Can you see my screen? Okay, good. So this is a project plan right now that talks about what's the beginning and all. Now let me show you now. This is a deliverable exactly. We're talking about this project now is for a particular, it's for Wema Bank, is network cross migration and CRS test plan. Now, when you look at this network cross platform migration is the major deliverables. Do you understand? If you don't complete this deliverable, because this is the aim of the project, they are trying to migrate their network. Do you understand? If you don't migrate their network from that particular platform that they want to migrate it from to the other platform, you have not completed the project. So that's what we mean by deliverables. That's firstly. So now, a lot of things can change in the project, but the main aim cannot change. So let's say they wanted to move their network platform, or they wanted to change their address from Dell to Cisco. And along the line, when trying to work for Cisco, you realize that okay, Cisco isn't delivering. We can come back here and tell them, okay, Cisco is not delivering now, but Dell can still do this network cross-platform migration. Dell technologies can handle it. They can say, okay, fine, no problem. They will use Dell. So when they use Dell, they've completed the deliverables one way or the other. We've done that. I've made sure that the delivery is completed. So But in a situation whereby this isn't done, you've not moved it, then you've not done anything, you have not completed the project. So in real time, like, yes, those things will happen. You're going to face problems. It is now you as a project manager that have to stand and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to make sure this thing works out. I'm going to make sure, okay, we're going to find a way, because honestly, there's always going to be a way. Do you understand? So let me give you an example now. This particular project now, it involves uh a situation whereby my engineer had to climb Wema Bank Power. Wema Bank Tower. That's the top of Wema Tower. And I remember back then when he told me, everyone was scared that how would you climb such a tower, you know, and a lot of people, and it was something that everyone felt like it was scary. Although my engineer was like, oh, he doesn't mind, he's going to do it, it is, you know, and my MD was like, no, you can't do it. And we spoke to Wema Bank and said, okay, you know what, this particular tax or this thing, we're going to outsource it so people who can climb it. Do you understand? So we had to look for people, made calls. I can remember back then we made calls to called someone at MTN, and that was how we were able to get someone that can climb the top of the tower to install the server we wanted to install. So when the situation now, if you decide that, oh, you don't want to do this, or like you as a project manager, you don't find a way, then the project, you've not completed the project. They'll just give to another project manager to handle it that can find solutions to it. So in projects, you're always going to find problems. You're always going to find issues, things will happen, a lot of things, in fact, things that you don't even expect, that you don't even foresee. You might plan it that, okay, there's going to be this problem, and no, okay, this one's going to happen. You might plan everything down that, okay, this is it. But at the end of the day, you might end up not meeting up with it, which is totally fine. Do you understand? Because, like I said, project it is subject to change most times, in most situations. For example, now anything that involves IT infrastructure right now, like this is an IT infrastructure project, we know it is subject to change. If you look at it here, it says the start date, actually the required start date was going to be 27th of January. We started that same day. But if you now come back here, you see here, we expect that, oh, we're going to start fourth, this particular tax here. It was expected that, oh, we're going to do Tuesday. We didn't start on Tuesday, we ended up starting on Wednesday. So there will always be things subject to changes, a lot of things. Okay, if you look at this now, what was intended to start in February, we didn't end up starting it till 2nd of, I think, June. Just to tell you that, oh, you're going to face different issues. I can't remember what happened. I think in this project, I can't remember what happened in this project, honestly, but the customer support expired in January. I just remembered. And it took them time, it took them months. How many months? 4 months, which was not even within the scope of us. Like, it was not within our own, it was not within my control as the project manager of my organization to tell Wema Bank the time to renew their support from Dell. And we just told them that, okay, you know what? End time you are ready. And they didn't come back till 4 months later, that we continue the project. So a lot of things, you face different issues in project, and you know, you as the project manager, there's always going to be solutions. You must find solutions. That's what makes you a good project manager. Does that answer your question, Chika?
Yes, please. Thank you so very much, Zayden. You've been amazing this evening. That answers my question. Please, does only any other person have a question? We actually have one question in the chat box, but before I go ahead to read that, does any other person have any question for Zedan? Do you need clarity on anything? Did he say anything that you're not agreeing with? Would you need clarity on anything Zedan has said so far? Okay, nobody. So I'll go ahead to read Cynthia's message in the chat box. So Cynthia said, please, can you share more light on the Scrum methodology?
Okay.
So Zayden, can you share a little bit of more light briefly on Scrum methodology?
Okay, so in the Scrum methodology, we have let me share you the slides again. So you can you see my screen? So one of the things makes Scrum much more easier, or like in a good state for me personally. I'm coming my screen. Okay. It is used in most organizations for like, and the reason for that is because it is simple and it is structured. For example, compared to are you seeing my screen? So
Yes, we
for
can.
example, okay, so for example, in the Scrum methodology, we have what I call the 5 ceremonies of Scrum. We have the sprint, or let me just say, okay, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. Now, in your sprint planning, this is where the team plans for the upcoming sprint. Okay, this is the plan that we have for this sprint. And like I said earlier, a sprint is a time box iteration between 1 to 4 weeks. So that is more anything beyond 4 weeks, you are starting another sprint entirely. That means now if you plan that, okay, we're going to build this feature within 4 weeks or within this sprint, if you do not complete, if you end up not completing that feature, you are going to move it to the next sprint. You are not going to say, okay, we're going to finish it. Okay, it's 4 weeks, and let's give it 1 more week to enter 5 weeks. No, the moment you are doing that, that is not Scrum any longer. So you move it to the next sprint. Now you have what you call the daily Scrum. That is what we also call as stand up. It's a short daily meeting just for the development team. That is for your designers, your front end and back end developers, and just a 30 minutes meeting. If a maximum of 1 hour, you should not, ideally, you're not even expected to spend more than 30 minutes on your daily Scrum, because you're just all about having key questions in mind. What did you achieve yesterday? What do you plan on achieving today? And what is the problem, or what is the issue we have at hand that is going to affect the impact for your tasks today? Now we have what we call sprint review. Now the sprint review, it inspects the sprint itself. Like this is where, like, okay, you figure, okay, you know what? Does the product backlog, okay, let me give an example now. So it's something we call product backlog. Now it's a list of the desired work. It's a list of, okay, this is the work of features we plan on doing, or we plan on having for this let me say for the whole project. Do you understand? So now it is within this sprint review that you're going to look at the product backlog and look at it that, okay, from this product backlog, or this is what we've been able to move, or this is what we've done for this sprint right now. Now we're going to now rearrange the product backlog based off what the customer wants and what the team agrees. That means now in the sprint review, everyone, including the customer or the product owner, is there, and everyone looks at, okay, this is what we're going to, okay, let's say you create the login and sign in page within the first 4 weeks. Now you're going to look at that, okay, what's the next thing? Okay, we plan on doing this before, but do we need to do this particular feature, or we're going to switch to another feature? So you can rearrange and adapt it based off what has happened in this present sprint. Now you know what we call the sprint retrospective. This is where the team reflects on the sprint and plans improvements. Now, in the sprint retrospective, you look at it that, okay, you know what, we just finished the sprint for 4 weeks. What can we improve on? What is the next thing in line? Okay, these are our mistakes. This is what we can do better in the next sprint. For example, now, if within maybe your first sprint of 4 weeks, you guys picked 25 tasks, and you guys are only able to complete 20. Then you look at and say, okay, you know what, this next sprint we're going to start, we should be looking at just doing only 20 tasks for this sprint. So it's a way of you reflecting in the past. Yeah, I think someone is asking a question. Okay. It's a way of you reflecting in the past to understand what's going on. So there are a lot of other, to be very honest, if we're going to even be going into, okay, so I think someone is asking, is raising up their hands. Okay. You can speak because I can see someone raising up their hand.
Hi, Zeda.
Zeda.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Am I the only one that can't hear any longer? Chika.
No, I get it from her. So
Okay.
Zeda, you can quickly round up with the message with the what you're saying
Okay. So
with the yeah.
yeah. So okay. I think she wants to speak. Okay, let me continue. So, but if this was our master class, which I would advise everyone to apply to, because we'll be working on real life projects. I'll take you around all the projects I've worked on, show you examples. We'll build project charters, project plan, Kanban boards, everything will be done. Why a standard master class. So, but this is just a boot camp just to put us through it. Adetola, do you want to ask a question? Okay, put that as in. So
I guess it's a mistake.
yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so
Please go.
Hi, Zeda. Can you
uh,
hear me? Apologies for jumping in.
can
Please,
hear
can you
you.
hear me?
Yeah, I can
All
hear
right.
you.
So, we need to jump on selling the course. So, please, for everybody that got the questions, and let's take a moment to talk about Abda Analytics project management program before we dive into that question, if time permits us. If not, all other things that they need to learn, everybody will definitely learn it during our section. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
During their program here at Amda Analytics. Okay, thank you very much, Charles Zaydan. Thank you very much, Shika. Shika, can you hear me?
Perfectly. I can hear you clearly, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Zaydan, please, can you stop sharing so that I can share my screen? All right, thank you very much, everybody. Nice to have you here. If you can hear me very clear and loud, my name is Chinyere and I'm the founder of Amda Analytics. So I want to tell you more about Amda Analytics program and how you can, enjoy Amda Analytics program. I can see a lot of questions. People would like those that zeal is there, that energy is there, a lot of things you want to know about project management. But let me share something with you. You will never become an expert in just a 2-hour session. Project management is going to hold or be here at Amda Analytics. Everything that you need to know about the project management program, I'm going to be sharing that now. And aside from project management program, every other thing that you want to, maybe data analytics, business analysis, cyber security, want to know, I will share that now. So let's dive into Chika, if at any point that cannot hear me, please send a signal. Is that okay, Shika?
Yes, ma'am. Very okay.
All right, thank you very much, Shika. Okay, this is Amda Analytics. If you go on your Google and search amdaanalytics.io, you are going to see us. So this is Amda Analytics. Now let's go to our courses and search for business project management course. I want to share something. I want to show you something. I want to show you our course outline because that would help you to understand what you are going to be learning here at Amda Analytics. So let's go to project management. So when you open your project management program, go to our website to scroll down to project management. You're going to see our project management. So let's view the course curriculum. So you can see view course, I can see view, by course, and then you see brochure. But let's talk about what you're going to be learning because that's the most important thing, right? So anytime you want to transition into a career path, first thing you need to understand, or the necessary questions that you need to ask are the things that, what would I learn? What are the benefits after learning this from you guys? Okay, these are the questions that you are going to be asking. So let's see why AMDA Analytics project management program is far better than all other programs that you can see out there. So here at AMDA Analytics, our project management program is 7 months, not 8 months. So 5 months of learning. So this is 5 months of learning and 2 months internship. 5 months of learning live classes and 2 months internship. I'm going to talk about the benefits, because let's go down to what you are going to be learning, because this is important. It's so amazing when people are talking about, oh, I want to transition into the career path, and there's so much focus on some things that are not, it's not that they're not necessarily, but they're not the key things to ask first. So because the first thing that you need to ask, okay, if I want to register for this program, can you please share with me what I would be learning as a student of AMDA Analytics? So here we talk about about the program. So what project management is, why you should register for project management. Okay, so here you can see we have the course duration. So the requirements doesn't just your access to internet, because all our program here at AMDA Analytics, let me share something with you. It takes 100% virtual. So the way we are teaching you now, the way our expert is teaching you, that's how you're going to be learning everything about about your program with AMDA Analytics. The internship, I'm going to talk about the internship very soon, but the internship is still virtual internship, right? So this is our project management curriculum. I would like you to take a minute or a moment to go through our website, read this thing. If you want to download it, you can click here, download it, have it on your desktop, have it on your device, and go through it over and over. So you're going to start with introduction to project management. Trust me, you need to understand what you are about to do. So you go to project in this section where there's a lot. In fact, it's very robust. So I don't know, just bore you with so many words here. So, but this is what you're going to be learning, right? So advanced project management, these are just like a step to what you're going to be learning, because you are going to be learning a lot. Now let's talk about why you should train with AMDA Analytics. Why AMDA Analytics? Why should I trust this academy to train with them? Why should I trust them? Right? So one thing that you need to understand about AMDA Analytics program is a practical program. It takes practical hands-on program. So our trainer said something about the project charter. Let me share something with you, because this is live section, very short. When you are in a class, you are going to be teaching, he's going to be teaching you how you are going to create that project charter from basic one, in fact, to the advanced or whatever it takes, right? It's not something that is, of course, it's not even something that can happen under 3 hours. So for you to see how robust that particular topic is alone. So these are the things that you're going to be learning here at AMDA Analytics practical program, right? That will help you to get more hands-on experience, because trust me, like he has been mentioning, where I work on this project, I work on this project, I work on this project. All this were as a result of what he has learned. Okay, because before somebody will say, I want to teach you something, simply means that that person is good. That person has gone through that program, not just the person learned it because the person want to teach it. No, the person is expert in the industry, right? So here at AMDA Analytics, you are going to be learning with standard technologies, right? Standard ones, okay? A lot of things that you're going to be learning with. I'm going to talk about the tools that are being used by project managers. These are the tools that you're going to be learning with. So another thing, again, you should understand about AMDA Analytics program is the expert instructors that we have here. Okay, you're going to be meeting with Zedan and your other experts in the project management space. Okay, and all of that people that, of course, not everybody are supposed to be here, right? So you're going to be meeting with all these guys. You see the way Zedan is sharing his experience and what the project he has worked on. This is to show you that the people that you're going to meet, that to mentor you, because there's something that you need to understand about transitioning into the career path, right? There's a difference between going online to learn something and having someone to mentor you in that space. These are what we do here at AMDA Analytics, of course. Okay, another thing again, you should understand about AMDA Analytics program, or you should know about AMDA Analytics program, is personalized mentorship and support. Just like I said, See, there's it that will get you get a point in your life. Maybe you have learned maybe one or two places you've learned all this project management or a career, and you are still not confident. Okay, you are still not confident with your skills, your expertise. You're still not confident. It simply means at that moment, so what you need is a mentor. You need someone who has been there to guide you through, or who is already there to guide you through, right? So here at Amda Analytics, just note something. We are going to teach you the technical knowledge, right? Perfect. And we are going to mentor you. You're going to be meeting with a lot of experts in the industry who would be sharing their experience and their expertise that will help you to transition very smooth here at Amda Analytics. Another thing again you should know about Amda Analytics program is the beginners friendly program. So all our programs, see, you don't need to have any prior knowledge before starting any of our program. You don't need it. So all you need is yourself, your your consistency, you and you alone, right? And one amazing thing about project management program is that most of the things that you're going to be saying there are something that you can move from your transferable skills that you already have. We talk about transferable skills, we're talking about your communication. Communication is a skills, right? So all those things that you have, you can transfer it into project management. You do not want to code, because when people hear about tech, everything is about, oh, maybe AI, maybe coding. Everything about tech is not coding. You don't need to code if you are transitioning into a project management program. Okay, so note this, that everything about an analytics program is you're going to hold your hand, take you as if we are taking a baby to that expert learner that you will become at the end of the day, right? So it is all beginners friendly program. Of course, you're going to get certified at the end of the program. So of course, 100% you're going to get certificates, right? That help you, globally recognized certificate that will help you to advance more if you want to apply for jobs for international opportunities as well. So career guidance and portfolio development, perfect. See, you're going to be working on different projects. I want you to note something. It's not how far, right? But how well. What do I mean? When you go out there, people want to see what are the projects you've worked on. What are the things you have done? People want to see. They want to see your projects. And this is why you need to understand that building a portfolio is important. Building a portfolio is important. And what are the things that will be there? All those projects that you're going to be working on while learning with Amda Analytics, you put them together. When a recruiter reaches out to you or somebody, you apply for a job, do not just share only your resume with them. That's one thing that a lot of people do not understand. Most times, let me say, if there's a job opening, and we have something like 70 applicants, right? I can tell you for free that 65 of those applicants, they applied with only their resume. What happened to your portfolio? What happens? Okay, so this is what we are teaching here at Amda Analytics, how you can build a strong portfolio. Another thing again you should understand or know about Amda Analytics program is a supportive community. You need people, trust me, you need people that will guide you. You need people that are learning with you as well. Imagine you going on YouTube to go and learn. Just you are learning in isolation. There's nobody there, there's nobody to guide you, there's nobody to even correct your mistakes. Okay, so that's why here at Amda Analytics, you have this community of learners. People, imagine that you're learning something like this. Maybe there's an assignment. You have someone there who is struggling with that same assignment, and you guys can team up together and put your hands together and build on that project or work on that assignment. That is supportive community that we are building here at Amda Analytics. Another thing again you should know about Amda Analytics program is proven success stories. Proven success story. We have it out there. You check us on all our platforms. We are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. Everywhere. TikTok, we are everywhere. Okay, so search for Amda Analytics on across all social media handles, and you are going to be seeing a lot of testimonies of people that have passed through these programs and they've gotten jobs, and those that just successfully finished the program and they're testifying how amazing this program is. So another thing again you should know is the affordable training program. 100% affordable, 100% affordable, right? So of course, I've mentioned you're going to be working on the real world case studies, okay? The projects that you will add to your portfolios. Another thing again is the internship opportunity. internship opportunities. So here at Amda Analytics, like for the project management, now it takes 5 months program and you have 2 months to work on internship. We'll talk about the internship. Like I said earlier, the internship opportunity here is virtual training or virtual internship. All right, you're not paying for anything. You're not paying for anything for you to start your internship with Amda Analytics. So everything, whatever you are going to pay now, it covers everything, the internship. So the internship is a space where you build on real world projects, work on projects that you add to your portfolio, and of course get one-on-one mentorship, right? So our next course starts on 14th of February 2026. 14th of February. So we have just very few days to start our next course, and trust me, registration is ongoing, massively ongoing. And here is our training fee. So our training fee, if you're in Nigeria, our training fee is 600,000 naira for the 7 months program. Okay, 600,000 naira for the 7 months program. So you can pay instrumental. It's not a must for you to have one-time payment. Okay, it's not a must for you to pay once. But if you want to pay once, why not? You can, right? Well, you can pay twice. Okay, you can pay twice here. And of course, if there is otherwise, you can always reach out to us and tell us, oh, I'll have this. And let's find a way to assist you. Like I said, registration is ongoing. Now, another thing again, let me talk about the opportunities in the space, right? Opportunities in the space of project management. There's this thing that these people don't really know. We had a section, and I would like you to go through that section. That was on our YouTube. Okay, we had a section on Sunday about the opportunities in project management, right? I would like you to go through that video. You'll see how much opportunities that a project manager earns, like average earning of a project manager just in Nigeria alone, right? So this is the video, so you can go there. Just this is a data. Whatever we are doing here is data. I mean, 100% data. There are things that you can go online and search, and you will see them. If you want to test what we have said on this video, you can just go on YouTube, online. There's all those resources are there. You can search. Okay, you can search where to get remote jobs. Just search for project management alone or project manager opportunities and see how much they are earning. Okay, so I love to use read.co.uk. It's a very good platform. I love to use it so because there's a lot of remote job opportunities there, right? So if you open read.co.uk, there's a lot, I mean, thousands of places where you can get remote job. Well, let's come here and say that we are looking for project manager. So project manager, they will ask you for location. Let's say London. So you can select any one of your choice, right? Select and choose Manchester anywhere, or you can choose UK at Seco. Okay. I want to see the one that they added the price there. So this one, it's highly negotiable. So I want to see the one that the price is there. Okay, look at this. So you can see 45 to 60,000 pounds per annum, right? 45 to 60,000 pounds per annum. So here again, project manager, you can see it here, 45 to 55,000 pounds per annum. So you see how much these guys are earning. So it's not a joke. I mean, as of today that I'm sharing this with you, project management is project managers are highly in demand. I mean, highly in demand, right? So you can see it here, 50 to 60,000 pounds per annum. This is not my data. This is not my website, and you can see what these guys are earning. So why? What's stopping you? What's your stopping you from being part of those people that will, submit your CV and get hired? Right. So let me take questions from anybody. So we're going to be dropping our account details, right? Just make payments. Registration is ongoing. The program is starting on 14th of February. 14th of February. And of course, like I said, it's not a one-time payment, but if you want to make payment once, why not? Just go ahead and make your payment. And if you want to pay twice, that's fine. Okay, you can reach out to us on any payment plan that you want. So let me take questions from you. If you have any question. Okay, questions? Okay, no questions. Okay, that's fine. If there is no question, right? So it simply means that it is well understood, and we're waiting to see you, right? We would love to see you in our class and have you get started with project management program here at Amda Analytics. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and do have a wonderful night rest. Bye.